Thank you very much, Rajeev. So, friends, today we thought of having two of us on the channel and on a topic which is very very close to us. But before I go forward, I thought let's have a profile of who is there in part of the session. Few in Zoom, but I think the maximum what we get in Facebook. So here's the poll for people on Zoom and people on Facebook. You won't be able to poll, but here's the question. We just want to know your profile. So based on that, we are able to structure our talk. Thank you. Okay, so we obviously, this is what usually we have: students, parents, and professionals. So all group of three. Thank you very much. And the topic for today, as you know, is we want to discuss about accidental career versus planned career. I will now request Makarandd to put up the second poll, and on which we are going to discuss. Yes. So what we need to know now. How has been your career? How would you describe it? What has been an accidental career, or was it a very planned career? Right. So we have a 50-50 poll. Again, I'm sorry, the Facebook guys will not be able to have a poll. It's only the people on the Zoom which are able to do that. I think we'll discuss. Makarandd, what do you have to say? How was your career? Was it accidental? Was it a planned?
Okay, as far as my career is concerned, it was completely, I would say, accidental. Because way back, almost 30 years back, when I got graduation degree from my university, I'm basically a commerce graduate. And at that point of time, something about education planning or career planning kind of concept, probably to my knowledge, were never exist. So it was the most easiest thing what I picked up is to start my career in a business development. So I was a consumer of available. That's a concept I'll bring it here. And I first got an opportunity to start my career with PepsiCo. So briefly, for nearly 5 years, I worked into FMCG industry, and that too in a business development. However, that's something which is very interesting. That did I leave company? Answer is no. Did company ask me to go? Answer is no. But the problem was the partner company of PepsiCo during those days was Voltas. They withdrew their entire operation. So we were actually given the option to switch over our career into their air conditioned division, and I was not very comfortable. So then I moved to other company. I worked with Wipro. So briefly, I worked into FMCG industry. But if you ask me during these days, did I decide anything related to my career, that how my career should shape up? Answer is no. And then I got into education industry. So I worked briefly again with education industry for nearly 6.5, 7 years. Again, it was IT education, and due to this Y2K problem, the entire IT education was going down. Again, I was forced to look out for something else in my career. And that's how, during those days, BFSI sector was a rising sector for us. So I joined Kotak, and again, for briefly 7-8 years, I worked into BFSI sector. Now, interestingly, when I started working with all these different industry into different role and as well as location, my profile also started changing. As I told you, in the starting, I started my career in a business development. But when I got into the BFSI sector, it was into training. So I got into training because by that time I realized that I have a huge experience of a market and the industry, at the same point of time, now I can prepare people for business opportunity or business management. So that's how I got into training. Over a period of time, again I realized that in training something is missing. You can't certainly do training um, alone. Somewhere you have to have HR background also required for that. So before training, assessment is very essential. So that's how I learned and I started, doing assessment. So I studied, MBTI, Myers and Briggs. I started learning, assessment center, scorecard, disc profiling, and whatnot. I did everything, and that's how my journey, which in a career which started in 1990. By the time in 2012, when I got into, core training, HR and training, started, talking to parents, students, and got into full-fledged assessment center. That time I realized that this is the destination which I should be forever now. So if you really look at my career, took fairly around 24 years or 22 years roughly to understand that what should be my destination. अरे इससे और ज्यादा एक्सीडेंट क्या हो सकता है? Okay, but interestingly, एक कॉन्सेप्ट दूसरा भी है जिसको हम कहते हैं प्लान करियर. So how was it it was in your case? Was that accidental or a planned career?
No, I think my case was pretty different. Though the thing that because we come from the same time, there was no concept of planned career. We didn't have advisors to do it, but I know unconsciously it was there in mind. And there was a small point which actually triggered. So a small story. I was I was 12 years old, and I was in a place called Aurangabad. And my father was an engineer, and he was a works manager of a large automobile company.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so he used to head that plant. It was a large automobile company having their division at Aurangabad. It was a Bombay-based company.
Hmm.
And then I suddenly found that a general manager came who was pretty young. I think he was in just early 30s. He
Okay.
came as boss of my father.
Oh.
Okay. And when I inquired, I was told that he has done his MBA and he's in from Ahmedabad.
Okay.
Okay. So that triggered something to me. I don't know what was that. And during that time, I started, I never knew the concept of vision board, but I started writing. So I still remember what I wrote in when I was in 12 years old. I wrote a couple of things. First, that I will do MBA.
Okay.
Okay. By the way, doing that time, MBA was very, very rare. Okay. This I'm talking 35 years back when I was 12. So 38 years to be precise. Okay. I said I will do my MBA. Second, I don't know what happened. I said in my mind, I will become a CEO. So these two were things which were clear in my mind. Okay. To give an example, till 10th, by the way, I topped the board in 10th.
Wow.
Then obviously my father got transferred to Gujarat. Okay. I came to a new school. Again, did well. And as you know, during our time, if you do well, you have to take admission in engineering or medicine. Right. I took admission in engineering, but I was clear I have to do my management. So engineering was my way. And in fact, you'll be surprised that I used to study only sufficient enough in engineering, which used to be precisely 7 days in a semester, apart from attending classes, so that I should get a distinction. During our time, the distinction was 65. So all my engineering, I have not crossed 66. I have not gone below 65. Right. But when I again came back, and again in my path, I was clear that I need to have experience before I do my management. So I worked for 2 years after engineering, and incidentally, in both the companies in marketing and sales, the people found out, and that's why I wanted to, my sales and marketing was what I wanted to. There I worked in sales and marketing, and obviously then after 2 years I left, and I was, by the way, getting a decent, I was in Crompton Greaves, and it was one of the very good paymaster during that time. So I left that in 93. In 91, I joined management from FMS. Then by 93, I moved out through campus. So I was clear that I have to be see, it was not the industry, by the way. I have also gone through a lot of industries.
Mm.
But I was clear that I have to be a CEO. To give you an example, after it was Onida, my campus was placement was Onida. After that, I joined a company called Aptech, where we both were colleagues. In Aptech, I joined a division which is consulting because I realized that if I go through the normal route of sales, it will take me a long time to become head or a CEO. I should get into consulting and get a strategic perspective.
Okay.
So I moved to the strategic perspective, become a consultant in quality consulting. By the way, I'm a certified ISO, TQM, BPR, and ERP consultant.
Okay.
And through consulting, then suddenly in Aptech, I was finding, hey, what is this guy doing consulting? He's supposed to be a good business guy, good sales guy. And then I was put in regional manager, and then I grew. So industries varied. Okay, so I was in Aptech. By the time I left Aptech, I think I used to handle the whole business. Then I took a very big change. I moved to stock market, where I was a director. Then, so by the time I was CXO roles. So I think I became a CEO when I was 39.
Okay.
Right. And the other thing, in terms of clarity, I was also very clear that I will do business.
Okay.
Okay. To the and I will do it in India. To the extent that when I was doing my MBA, I had got admission in a US university, Georgia Tech, a good university with a full 1 year scholarship. I did not go because I knew if I go to US, I will never come back. So 2-3 things were very clear. I will not say I fully planned. Okay.
So there was a clarity. There was a clarity.
There was a clarity. There was a very, very decent clarity in my mind, and which is still continuing. And as I'm going, obviously, there's more and more clarity. The purpose comes in. But I was clear. So I cannot say it's completely planned, but I was clear about it, right? Maybe the route which I took, maybe different industries and way, but there were a couple of things I was very clear.
So can we say that when you actually started, it means you finished your studies and moved towards starting your corporate life, you had clarity and some sort of planning also.
Yes, it was a very decent planning. So I'm talking something like vision board. So I told you when I wrote my first vision, now we know what's called vision board, by the way. उस time मुझे पता नहीं था उसे vision board बोलते हैं. जब मैं 12 years का था, right? So every couple of years I have looked at my vision board.
Oh, okay.
Every couple of years.
Okay.
So whatever best let me put it, a self planning could be done, was done.
See, friends, this is the stage where being a parent or maybe as a student, we should have a clarity about our life. What we want to achieve in our life with the stated goals and purpose, which is very essential. Now, probably you will wonder that what is this planning am I talking about?
Yeah, so that was a question I wanted to ask to you, Makarandd. What do you think is the concept of planning according to you?
Okay, so what I'll do is, for easy understanding, I'll pick up something from our day-to-day life. See, in our family, we are having girl child. Okay, so normally being parent, how we treat our girl child. जैसे बच्ची 7-8-10 साल की हो जाती है, parents immediately start, preaching her, grooming her, कि एक दिन आपको शादी करके ससुराल जाना है. So what should be your behavior, which type of skill you should adopt, आपको खाना बनाना आना चाहिए, आपको रोटी बनानी आनी चाहिए, you should know how to talk to seniors, how to talk to your parents, what should be your behavior matrix and all. And this is something which all of us probably have seen and experienced in our day-to-day life. कि छोटी बच्ची को जिसकी उम्र शायद आज 8 या 10 साल होगी और एक दूसरा 10-15 साल के बाद उसको शादी करके किसी नए फैमिली में जाना है. But as a parent, what are we doing? We start grooming that child or that girl child right at a very tender age. और उसका एक mental conditioning हम करते हैं. Okay, so that child achieves the greater clarity when she gets ready for marriage. Now, if you really look at, this is called the concept of the planning. अब इससे उल्टा देख लो. The same within the same family, if you have a boy, right? अब उसको भी तो उसकी जिंदगी शुरू करनी है. उसको भी हायर स्टडीज के लिए चाहे इंडिया में रहना है, इंडिया से बाहर जाना है, उसे भी अपना एक करियर शुरू करना है. But how many times, truly speaking, we as a parent, we start grooming our child at a tender age? Certainly not. हम क्या सोचते हैं कि अभी तो टाइम है, ठीक है, लड़का है, खुद कर लेगा. He will learn by experience. Okay, so somewhere we do not get into the more or most constructive planning phase for our baby, means a boy, rather than a daughter. So this is something, is a difference between being planned or unplanned.
Okay, so if I understand very clearly, you took a very beautiful example of a girl child. And so in this, when we're talking, I'll just add my personal thing. We are only two brothers, right?
Okay.
And my mother especially said, by the time you guys grow up, right, your wife will also start working, right? Or you need to be equally, contribute into the house. So from very young age, she started teaching us the kitchen part.
Okay.
You'll be surprised, Makarandd, I have been making tea for my mother, right? That's why I make a very good tea for my mother since maybe I was 8 or 9 years old.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So currently, I'm not saying that I am very good chef, right? I don't like making food, but I will survive. I can make all the food. I am not a big good cook like you, but being even being a boy, and this I'm talking of maybe 40 years back, right? So coming back, planning we all do. So what you're basically saying that we all do. You give an example of marriage for a child. We all do, but the most critical thing, which is planning a career, right? Started, I think, pretty late in a family. That's what I think. I believe you're saying.
Absolutely. And that's where I'm tempted to ask you a question, since you are coming from such a background where you could even plan your partially also, maybe you could plan your career. So I would like to understand that what is the actual concept of career planning?
Okay, very interesting. This is one topic which is very, very close to my heart, that we tell everybody. And so I will start this career planning, give you an example of a medieval areas, Ramayana and Mahabharata.
Oh, okay.
So if you remember, prince होते थे, उनके दोस्त होते थे, or maybe Krishna के time, let me take an example, right? They were sent to a Gurukul. गुरुकुल में उनके स्किल के हिसाब से गुरु उनका असेसमेंट करते थे, राइट? तो ये गुरु के पास रहते थे, सो फुल असेसमेंट, और गुरु उसके हिसाब से उनको बोलते तुम ये बनो. तो फॉर एग्जांपल महाभारत में अर्जुन को बोला कि भैया तुम धनुर्धारी बनो, राइट? भीम को बोला कि आप गदाधारी बनो,
ओके,
राइट? विभीषण को बोला कि नहीं, आप अच्छे प्राइम मिनिस्टर, यू कुड बी अ गुड प्राइम मिनिस्टर और मैनेजर और समथिंग लाइक दैट ऑन द किंग्स, राइट? सो उस जमाने में भी ये था. और आई एम ट्राइंग टू से in what of scientific knowledge, but there was a career planning then.
Okay.
Right. अब उसके बाद ये रामायण का ले लीजिए. You took it, let's say earlier than that, let's say 10, 20, 30, 40 years back in India, we had joint family.
Yes.
Right. Now joint family में चाचा सब लोग साथ में रहते थे, तो किसी बच्चे का कोई मेंटर होता था.
Yes.
He was his guide.
Yes, agree.
राइट, वो उसको करियर जिसके हिसाब से उसका लगता था वो उसका करियर हेल्प करता था, प्लान करता था. राइट. नाउ कट टू टुडे वी आर न्यूक्लियर फैमिलीज,
न्यूक्लियर एंड मोर ओवर अ सिंगल
चाइल्ड. ओके, perfect. I think we both have a single child, and most of us, our friends have single child, right? So now where this child will go and talk to them, right? Would he talk to parents? But parents, as usually it has been noticed, कि children have बहुत critical चीज अपने parents से बात नहीं करते, right? Whom they talk to? Now उनके cousin है, चाचा है, ताऊ है. So क्या करते हैं? Either they talk to their friends, right? You can understand friends का कितना levels का experience हो to guide them, or they talk to Google Baba, right? Second area, or some influencer, right? Which could be anybody, which could be a TV star, which could be a cricketer, which could be anybody. So all good and bad, and there's no direct reference. Do you understand? These are all indirect way the child are getting influenced.
Okay.
right? So in the current time, a formal career planning has become essential. क्योंकि कोई guiding force बचा नहीं है, right? So this concept, by the way, is not new as I read. मतलब महाभारत रामायण में भी होता था.
But I think the importance of planning or the career planning is not been understood well.
You're absolutely correct. Okay, I see. Usually, this अगर मैं medieval time की बात करूँ तो it was taken by that education system. Gurukul system used to take care of it. So now not only even their skills in time, even their character were built. There were two very important things in those times. Right. Now we look at our education system. Okay. I will request you to put up I think I have to share one slide on Indian education system or education system. I'm not putting Indian, but education system. See, this is our system. It says you can understand. सबके सब जानवर हैं, and they're saying for fair selection, everybody has to climb the tree. Right now, can an elephant climb the tree? And see the monkey. You know, he's so happy. That's his skill.
That's his skill.
Right. You ask a lion, can lion climb a tree? Everybody has a different skill. ये गुरुकुल ये करता था. I'm repeating that to you. The Gurukul had to guided people in their typical skills. And currently, our education system is treating everybody in the same way without understanding what will be the right career.
True.
What is education system? Education system leads to career. Actually, the career is first needs to be planned. So we have a big challenge currently. I'll give you some data, Makarandd, to just put this point. MBAs, one of the best education you can get in the world in country. Are you aware? As per HRD data, only 47% of MBAs coming out are employable. I'm reading the word for employable.
That's the irony of our education system.
It
means we are producing more graduates rather than the qualified people.
Perfect. I'll give you two more data. 43% of engineers are employable.
Same.
Right? And only 30% of normal graduates, which are not engineers or MBAs, are employable. This is Ministry of HRD data. This is not my data, which I'm talking about. Right? So it means there's something wrong. But when you go back and try to understand, the challenge and the problem is that we are taking out graduates which are non-employable. Right? So that's why this area is very, very close to me. I will, also request to you, because I've been working on this concept for a pretty long time. There's a concept of ikigai. I think this lot of people is becoming very hip now. This concept of ikigai. Yes. By the way, this concept, the book came in April of 2016.
Okay.
Right, and became popular in 2018. But as you're aware, we are working, or I'm working on this concept along with you from last 6 years.
Yes.
Right, even before that. Today, this concept is very big. What Ikigai is saying is that what you love is not sufficient. What the world needs is not sufficient. What can you be paid for is not sufficient. What are you good at not sufficient. It is the triangulation of all these four areas which will make you employable, have your career, make you happy. Right? I will not dwell much in the topic, but Ikigai is talking about that, and this is we're talking, and this is how Japan works. Right? This is a concept. This is a Japanese concept which people are working. So, as far career planning is concerned, this is a personal vision for me.
Okay.
I'll give you some data. See, in India there are 600 million youth less than 25.
Oh.
600 million means 60 crores.
60 crores.
60 crore plus is youth, out of which 375, it means 37 crores plus are 14 years and younger. Now imagine these people they are coming to the education system and the employment market. There's a very critical problem which I follow Dr. Abdul Kalam, by the way. You are aware of it very closely. Dr. Abdul Kalam in 2007 has said that the biggest challenge to India is not poverty, it is educated unemployed youth. Right? And this is increasing. By the way, what will happen when the kids get educated? Neither they can do agriculture, which is 50% of India's population is employed, supposedly. Neither they can do anything else, and so they will do all wrong things. So the basic idea
means, in fact, you mean to say that their education will not allow them to do anything.
Allow them to do anything. right? So finding the right, so first, every person, as I said, has got a skill. Lion is a lion, elephant is an elephant. So elephant has got a skill, lion has got a skill,
True.
right? Everybody has, so everybody's skill first is different. That you know, and every child is different. You need to recognize
Different and
that.
unique. Different and unique.
Different, you need to find out that area, help them into education in that space, and hence find a career for them. So that, according to me, is a career planning concept.
Oh, that's really nice. In fact, friends, if you really understand and probably try to feel that the problem is very big. We being a parent, it's not only sufficient for us to provide resources, necessary resources to our children for their education. Rather, I would say we actually have to think about their career first. Unless we think about career, which is an end result of their education, they will you will not be able to understand that what type of education is essential for them.
So just to end on this, I will give a formal definition of career planning.
Oh,
Okay, for the benefit of our audience.
okay.
So career planning is the process of discovering what educational, training, and professional opportunities. I repeat, educational, training, and professional opportunities that suits your interest, passion, and goal.
Oh,
So that's what Kika is saying.
exactly.
So that's a formal definition, by the way.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. In fact, if you really look at this Ikigai concept is really very enlightening concept for me, because if we really remove all these factors like passion, mission, what you love to do or what you are good at, okay, probably nothing left over to talk about the education and career. And that's where I believe that we are sitting on volcano.
Yes, I am with you, especially a country like India.
Yeah, because इंडिया का पॉपुलेशन अमेरिका जैसे देश से दुगना है.
Makarandd, to add, 600 million, 60 crores is practically double the
Exactly,
US population.
exactly.
The youth only.
हाँ, मैं स्टूडेंट पॉपुलेशन या
Yeah.
यूथ की बात कर रहा हूँ, जो किसी दुनिया के सबसे पावरफुल देश की पॉपुलेशन से दुगना है. So we have opportunities, but I think we are not ready for that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
please. So with this, can I ask you a next level of question, please?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think are the other steps in career planning?
Oh,
Because you have worked very closely on this topic.
yes. In fact, let me show you something, which is because before we understand what are the steps for career planning, let's understand how we look at our life as a student or as a parent. How are we looking at? हमको लगता है जिंदगी में एक गोल बनाओ, काम करना शुरू करो, goal is always achievable. But that's not true. If you really look at the reality is completely different. In fact, let me share one example here that in the emerging global competition environment, where a lot of resources nowadays which are also available to students, the students have started earning very easy success. They do not know the failure. They are always earning success one after other. And without understanding the reality, which you can see on your screen, okay, one cannot get ready for future. So, as a parent, if we really have to understand okay, what are the steps we should follow, that will help us to do our career planning of a child very effectively. So,
Makarandd, before you go to next, I think in this, I have one more interpretation. According to the interpretation is that, okay, you make your plan, that's your career plan, let's say the chanda. Okay, you believe this is all go like that. Actually, it doesn't go like that. But you're very clear about your destination. So you will have ups and downs, right, or obstacles, as you put that way, but you will find the right route to go to that destination.
True.
That's my interpretation.
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. But for that, one We need to understand what is our goal. Number two, we have to understand all the eventualities of life. Number three, we also have to get prepared ourselves. So let's talk about couple of important steps which one should take. So to start with, for anything, if you want to plan, मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ. अगर हम बीमार होते हैं तो किसके पास जाते हैं? डॉक्टर के पास. डॉक्टर हमको सबसे पहले एक लैब रिपोर्ट करवाने के लिए बोलता है. What is he doing actually? To identify the pain area or to identify the problem area, he is not going by his gut feel. He is asking for scientific assessment. Now that assessment can be of anything. It can be pathological, it can be radiological, anything. But his decision about your problem area is not based on, Google search. In fact, friends, just to add some small humor, in Pune city is known for their, sense of humor, unique sense of humor. In Pune, in one of the clinic, a typical clinic of MBBS doctor, he put up a board that if you have consulted Google, physician, I will be the wrong person to consult again. So, even in our Indian society, we have a very unique assessment processes which are completely unscientific, to my knowledge. Who does that? First assessment is, मेरा बेटा मैथ्स में अच्छा है. I think he should be an engineer. Okay, नहीं ये काम करते हैं. हम हमारे टीचर से एक बार पूछ लेते हैं. Okay, teacher will come with something else that your child may be a doctor. Okay, or the best of the best counselors or the assessor which are available there are from family members. Okay, कौन होता है? The most qualified person within family. Okay, वो अपना एक जजमेंट देता है, अपना एक ओपिनियन देता है. आपको है ना आपके बेटे को डॉक्टर बनाना चाहिए या आर्किटेक्ट बनाना चाहिए. No, this is not the assessment. We have to understand that there are various scientific tools which are available which can give you complete insight about your child. Now, whenever I meet parents and parents ask me this question, that is assessment essential for education planning? So, मैं रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी से I pick up one metaphor and I say that your child is not a child. For me, he has something which can help to create the right recipe. So, child is not a child, he's a raw material. Unless you understand that what raw material you have, you will not be able to understand what recipe you can cook. Now, for me, recipe is something, or end result is something related to the career. So, it is very important that if you, rather than assessing your child based on your gut feel, understand child's inborn or maybe you can say adaptive skills and competencies. So that is something which is very essential. Okay? So that's the first step. The second step is, based on the assessment findings, one can understand that how many types of careers which are available. You will wonder that in my study, formal study of understanding how many types of careers which are available, जो मैं पहले समझता था कि शायद careers में एक तो डॉक्टर होते हैं, कोई इंजीनियर बनता है, कोई आर्किटेक्ट बनता है, कोई चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट बनता है, बस इतने कुछ 4-5 careers के बारे में मुझे पता था. But when I did the study, and I was surprised to see that there are more than 14,000 career opportunities which are available globally. And I'm not talking about numbers, I'm talking about types of careers which are available. Right? So, unless you understand the fundamental of or skill or competencies of your child, you will not be able to explore कि मेरा बच्चा, मेरा बेटा, मेरा बेटी क्या बन सकते हैं. So that's the second step that will help you only when you have the assessment in place. Now, once you do that, career, you explore the career options which are available for your child, then certainly you will be able to do the proper identification of the adequate career for your child. Now here, not only the assessment report which will help you to understand that which profile or which career opportunity would be most adequate for him or her, but your family background, your social structure, your financial capacity to spend money and the providing the resources, put together everything, and beyond that, your child's desire, what he or she would like to be. तो ये सब चीज मिलाकर then you will be in a position to understand which career would be more suitable to your child in his or her situation. So that's a third step. And then the last steps which comes into uh, you know existence, that is you will start putting the necessary action plans. So so अगर 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 आपको एक प्रॉपर करियर प्लानिंग करना है तो you really have to start your journey right from assessment till action plan.
Very nice.
Right.
So, Makarandd, just to add to this, now, do you think can people do it on their own, these steps, or they should take help, or what? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. सबसे पहली बात तो हमको ये जाननी चाहिए कि हमारे फैमिली में, हमारे सोसाइटी में क्या एजुकेशन और करियर प्लानिंग का कॉन्सेप्ट एग्जिस्ट करता है, नंबर वन. नंबर टू, अगर कुछ लोग उसका इस्तेमाल करते हैं तो हाउ डू दे डू दैट दिस एंटायर एजुकेशन एंड करियर प्लानिंग. पहली बात तो ये मैं आपको ये बता देता हूँ, मैं आज तक 1500 से ज्यादा पेरेंट्स को मिल चुका हूँ और मैंने किसी भी पेरेंट्स से करियर प्लानिंग के बारे में अभी तक कोई बात नहीं सुनी है. देयर इज नो अर्ज फॉर करियर प्लानिंग. या थोड़े बहुत लोग जो है वो करियर एजुकेशन प्लानिंग की बात करते हैं, बट नाउ हाउ इट हैपेंस, यू हैव टू रियली अंडरस्टैंड दिस. इन अ टिपिकल सिचुएशन, जब हमारा बच्चा 10th स्टैंडर्ड में आता है, तब एक फैमिली के अंदर डाइनिंग टेबल पर डिनर लेते वक्त धीरे धीरे वो एजुकेशन प्लानिंग का कॉन्सेप्ट डिस्कशन शुरू होता है. ठीक है, यहाँ पर पूछा जाता है बेटा आपको क्या बनना है. ठीक है, देखो बेटा, हम तो आपको बोलते हैं कि आपको इंजीनियर बनना चाहिए या डॉक्टर या आर्किटेक्ट एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. कुछ पेरेंट्स ऐसे भी होते हैं जो कहते हैं बेटा देखो आपको जो बनना है बन जाओ, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, हमारा कर्तव्य है, हम आपको रिसोर्सेस प्रोवाइड कर देंगे. कुछ पेरेंट्स ऐसा भी बोलते हैं, देखो बेटा हमको तो इसमें कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है, आप एक काम करते हैं, हम हमारे एक दोस्त है या हमारे पड़ोसी है या तो फिर आप आपके दोस्त या टीचर से एक बार बात कर लो कि आपको क्या करना है. तो दिस इज द टिपिकल वे ऑफ education planning which has been discussed amongst the family. Do you think it's a scientific approach towards education and career planning?
So I will only add one thing here. First, career planning should be done. Whether you do it on your own or you do take some, professional help. Okay, that's point number two. First, point number one, you have to do career planning. So that's my take, what I understood from whatever you're saying.
No, you're absolutely right. And friends, I would like to tell you here, before you actually start thinking about education planning, I would suggest you start thinking about a career planning first. Because education of your child is largely depends upon the kind of career which he or she likes, or they are capable enough to adopt or learn those things to make the bright career or the successful career. So career planning, and believe me, the education phase post 10th or 12th, normally हम स्कूल के बाद ज्यादा सीरियस होते हैं, तो 12th से लेकर पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन तक approximately 6-7 years of education, okay, will impact your next 30 or 40 years of career. So according to me, you have to think about career first, then the education. It's other way around.
Oh, 14. So you have talked about steps. So obviously you spoke about the broad four steps. Can you just tell me and the audience what are the side effects of a non-planned career? See, अच्छा तो ये करते क्या होगा? नहीं करते तो क्या होगा?
Oh, फ्रेंड्स, ये जो एजुकेशन या करियर प्लानिंग जो नहीं होता है, उसके कई सारे लॉन्ग टर्म और इवन शॉर्ट टर्म implications होते हैं. I'll talk about both.
I think you were talking to me something about that and you were talking about.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, this is something which I would like to show. I'm sure friends, आपने भी ये ad कहीं पर देखी होगी. It was a popular ad of Bonvita. So let me share something which is just a minute.
Hello, ma'am.
Where's the dress section? So I came last week. So I saw something. I just came to pick that up.
Ma'am, we don't have any dresses today. Black t-shirt. Want to try? Please, ma'am. एक बार try तो कर लीजिए.
So you don't have anything else except black t-shirts?
हाँ बात है सारी तो शोरूम में खाली t-shirt. ये मरून ब्लेजर मेरे साइज में एक्सेल दिखा दीजिए.
I'm looking for jeans, shirt. I have a voucher जो आज expire हो जाएगा.
We've given our jeans for alteration yesterday.
Yeah, I'm looking for white formal shirt. Blazers तो available नहीं है. Black t-shirts है.
आज सिर्फ black t-shirt है.
Black and just XL size.
Yeah.
क्यों?
शर्ट दिखा दो, टाई दिखा दो.
कल तो ये नहीं था, आज अचानक.
तो ये वाउचर का मैं क्या करूँगी फिर?
So, but बहुत solution. Once you try it, you will definitely buy it.
जीन्स तो मिलेगा ना हमारा.
मैम आप हमें हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट बताएंगे कि हमें क्या करना चाहिए. मेरे क्यों दिमाग खराब कर रहे हो? नहीं लगी ब्लैक टी-शर्ट.
Where's the manager?
Is your manager here? Can you call the manager?
अपने मैनेजर को बुलाइए प्लीज.
He's the manager.
The whole store I will be one.
मीटिंग में मैं क्या करूं? नहीं सर.
हेलो मैम. हेलो सर. सॉरी यू आर टू फेस दिस बट आपको आपके कपड़ों में चॉइस नहीं मिली तो आपको इतना बुरा लगा. सोचिए ना मुझे कैसा लगता होगा जब मुझे मेरे करियर के लिए चॉइसेस नहीं मिलती. आई वांट टू बी अ गिटारिस्ट बट मेरे पेरेंट्स नहीं चाहते कि मैं वो करूं.
मेरे भैया को टेनिस बहुत पसंद था. मेरे पेरेंट्स को अच्छा नहीं लगा तो उन्होंने अलाउ ही नहीं किया.
One of my friend, he's very good in maths. So my parents are always comparing him with me.
क्या सबको 90% आना जरूरी है? Does everyone need to be a topper? अगर मुझे डांस में इंटरेस्ट है तो मुझ पे 90% लाने का प्रेशर क्यों है?
जैसे आप सबको हर चीज़ की चॉइसेस मिलती है, मुझे भी मेरे करियर के लिए चॉइसेस मिलनी चाहिए.
बात तो सही है तुम्हारी बेटा.
आपको क्या बनना है बड़े होके?
मुझे एक सिंगर और एक डांसर बनना है.
So you will be a director who sings. That's amazing.
रोहित शर्मा मुझे बहुत पसंद है. I like his full shot.
मुझे क्रिकेटर बनना था तो उस टाइम मुझे क्रिकेटर नहीं बनने दिया.
आप वही बनना जो आप चाहते हो. It's okay.
So this is all because of you?
Yes. ये एक टी-शर्ट सबको फिट नहीं होगी ना, तो सबको डॉक्टर बनना जरूरी है.
Beautiful. So whenever I see this, say every time it's new to me and it really moves me. Really moves me.
Yeah, in fact, if you really look at children are very unique. They're born with skill, competence. At the same point of time, they also be born with a lot of emotions, and those emotions actually help them to build their own desire about their life and career. Now, but answering to your question that you asked me, what are the side effects of non-planned career? Friends, there is something which is very shocking I would like to share. In fact, this is one ad which you have seen wherein children want to do something in their life, but the system does not allow them. Now here I'm not talking about education system. Here I'm talking about social system. Okay, like I'll give an example. I have seen a lot of parents uh, जिनकी सोच ऐसी होती है कि I wanted to be an engineer but I could not, so I want my child to be an engineer. Or other way around. I am a doctor, so my child should be a doctor. Anything less than doctor is not acceptable. Now this is something which is building up a huge pressure on small child. So first सबसे पहली इफेक्ट क्या होती है? Again, I would like to share something which is very very shocking, very shocking, and I'm sure um, you will shatter understanding this fact about. Let me show you. Okay, look at this. Last year, more than 10,000 students have committed suicide.
This is of this is a very latest. This is September 2020 report.
Yeah,
Okay, of Times of India.
yeah. Or if you really look at every 1 hour, one student is committing suicide. This is something which is very shattering, very shattering, very sad. So सबसे पहली side effect तो ये है कि because of this peer pressure, or you can say parental pressure, or whatever you can say, or maybe social pressure,
Or pressure to excel.
okay, and even since they do not know how to handle that pressure, first of all students commit suicide. लेकिन कुछ लोग बच्चे ऐसे भी होते हैं जिनको वो हिम्मत नहीं होती जिनमें सुसाइड करें. So what are they doing? There are two more things which are happening. First, they start living depressed life. Okay, उनकी food habits spoil हो जाती है, उनकी sleeping habits spoil हो जाती है, and they start feeling nervous breakdown or depression or frustration के victim होते हैं. Beyond that, if they are access to certain social system, many students they get caught up with bad habits. Okay, bad habits, bad companies, and overall, if you really look at, is something which force them to live a most less productive life.
So it's very. Don't you think, Makarandd, it's very ironical that every parent wants his child to be happy, right?
Yeah,
That's the topmost thing.
yeah,
And we believe, as especially Indian parents, that happiness comes through a good career.
yes,
Because career will give you everything, give you money, social status, a good wife, housing, everything gives you,
true,
right?
true.
And still, we want them to take career, right? Which may not be right for them,
Yes, maybe.
right? It's very analytical,
True.
right? Very. So I will just add one more data to this. Um, and this is again a Ministry of Health report, by the way, which says that 4 students or youth, they're talking of youth they count from 14 to 25 is what the government counts. Between every 10 youth, 4 youth pass through a depression at some point of time in their life.
Oh, that's really a,
Right? That's
really
40%.
sad.
That's 40%.
40%.
40% of it. So, like as I said, this is and this, as you said, leads to unemployment or lower underemployment. All those issues of what we are facing as a country or as a world, whichever area you take up, is all because of basic thing. Every child has a right to be happy, and he will be happy if he is guided in the area where he'll be more productive. He will have a good career, employable career, which will make him happy.
Absolutely. In fact, in a span of past more than, or you can say nearly 30 years of our, professional career, I'm sure you must have experienced the same thing which I have experienced, and maybe many of our people from our audience must have experienced that on one side there is a huge manpower requirement in every organization, and they are not getting the right people. And on other side, we are having huge unemployable and unemployed youth, which is waiting for at least a job. I'm not talking about career at least, but for them it's a job. Job is a career. Now look at this. There is a demand, there is a supply, but still this demand will never get satisfied.
I understand. Now, Makarandd, I know you have particularly done a lot of work. You have personally career counseled more than 1,500. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it's more than 1,700. If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes.
What do you think in your research and in what you have made, what you're doing? What are the characteristics of a planned career?
Okay. Means you meant to say what is the solution now?
Yes.
Okay. So we understood the problem area. We understood the reason behind those problems. Okay. So let's talk about the solution. Now, first of all, any planning, be it education planning or a career planning, it has to be long-term in nature. Because you cannot start thinking about the solution for your most successful global career when you are in the last year of your college. You can't. Because by that time, you must have destroyed your career also, your education also. Or probably you are educated enough in the areas which is not in demand at all.
You can't, and you shouldn't.
You shouldn't be, right? So that's the first thing. So, first of all, education planning has to be scientific. Now, when I say scientific, it means whatever you plan, whichever way you plan, there has to be a strong logic supported with lots of data. Okay, as I told you, in most of the assessment, you are able to identify the skill sets of your child. Okay, I'm just taking one example. Or you can understand how your child learns, so learning style or a communication style, or you understand how he achieves success. So that's an achievement style. Now, when you put all these things together, you will be able to understand that what should I do with my child? Okay, which way he will learn. So, which type of job, which type of career would be suitable for him. In fact, just to add one more thing, there are certain provinces in India where people are coming from entrepreneurial mindset. Okay, so even that also you have to identify. कि आपके बेटे में entrepreneurship है या नहीं? Okay, so everything which will throw you data, and based on that data, you can plan.
Which, in short, your meaning is that it has to be scientific.
Scientific. First of all, it has to be scientific. Number two, now we have to look at our education system, be it Indian education system or global education system. Now, in every education system, that system has been created for everyone.
Basically, mass production.
It's a mass production. Okay. Because obviously, practically, it's not possible for school to teach your child uniquely. Okay, understanding his profile and personality and etc. etc. Right. So, when your education system is made for masses, you still have to plan education in a way which will become more personalized for your child. Okay. Now, for that, it's a long discussion. I will not bring that discussion right now. But yes, unless your education plan, which is not personalized, it will never help you to achieve personal goals.
So you link it with goals.
Yeah. Okay. Like for an example, I wanted to be a surgeon. Okay. I wanted to be an oncologist. Okay. So that being an oncologist is my personal desire, or you can say my plan or a goal. So for that, I need to have, or I need to design my own education system within the education system which is available. So that planning should help me to achieve my personal goal. So it has to be personalized. Number one. Number two, every education planning should help you to achieve something. मीन्स आप ये नहीं सोच सकते हो, आप ये नहीं कह सकते हो कि मैंने इंजीनियरिंग कर ली है, अब मुझे सोचना पड़ेगा कि अब मैं क्या काम करूं. No. First of all, you should understand what type of work you are looking for, what type of career you are looking for, and for that, what type of education is essential. So, every education plan should have connect with goals. That's third thing. The fourth thing is that in this entire process of education and career planning and later execution of this plan, entire process has to be most guided and informed. अब आप सोचो कि मैं ये why am I using all these jargons? But these are not jargons, these are very simple things. Guided means what? Guided means there has to be someone who can guide you at every step post your planning has been done.
So just a clarification. So we are talking of academic and non-academic both.
Both. When I say education and career planning, it means you really need to do each and everything what is essential for that. Okay. So that includes academic, non-academic, or even cultural also sometimes. Okay, because your cultural learnings also help you to develop your personality. Okay, as well as attitude. So important क्या है कि whatever you do, it has to be guided step by step. Okay, I'm sure you were doing some research on who can certainly guide. So obviously the career counselor should be guide. Okay, and I'll definitely ask. I want you to share that data point with people to understand where are we standing as a country. Okay, but hold on for a moment. Let me finish this topic. So one has to be guided, and another thing is that whenever you are doing something or you will be asked to do something, it has to be informed with the logic. सिर्फ आप आपके बेटे को कराटे सीखने भेज दो, आप आपके बेटे को एरो मॉडलिंग के लिए एक्स्ट्रा एक्टिविटी में एरो मॉडलिंग करवा लो, या आपके बेटे को थोड़ा सा थिएटर करवा दो.
Coding, the most famous coding. Every child has been sent for coding.
So every child cannot be a coder. Okay. So अगर आप चाहते हो कि आपका बच्चा कोडिंग करे, आपका बच्चा थिएटर में जाए, आपका बच्चा एरो मॉडलिंग करे या कराटे सीखे, there has to be a logic behind it, and that logic should help him not to excel only during his tenure as a student, but in his professional life. So it has to be most informed and a guided decision. अब आप सोचोगे कि ये सब करने की जरूरत क्या है? Because when I look at child on one side, I look at child as a raw material for a success. On the other side, when that raw material will get converted into the final good, that is called character building. So student is not a student. Student is just not a human being. He is a character. Now that character can be a social character or a professional character, whatever you can say. Because everything is coming out from our academic, learning, from our education. So what is more important? It's not important that how many graduates one country or one university is producing. Beyond that, more important is, are you producing the character? Being a parent also, this question we have to ask to ourselves. means मैंने एक बच्चा पैदा किया है, मैंने एक character produce किया है. That's more important. So it's not limited to achieving this education and career planning is not limited to achieve only the professional success, but it is beyond, which in turn the society will receive in form of character. That's where the education and career planning.
I think we have touched the same thing what we are talking about Mahabharata and Ramayana. So apart from the education, even character building was one of the very, very important parts as an Indian system, and hence India was supposed to be, still is, but at that time one of the greatest country which was there in the world, and it was a leader of the world.
Absolutely.
Right, very interesting. So Makarandd, I think last one or two questions to you. I think we have around 10-15 minutes more. Can you share with our people, with students and parents, some few examples of this? More than 700 people, you have helped them, guided them over a period of last 5, 6, 7 years. Some couple of examples for them to make, a real life example to make sense what we are talking about.
Sure. In fact, this is a very important question. One has to understand that whenever we are doing, we are talking about education and career planning. So in the process, I just spoke about the 4 different steps which one should take, and the first step is assessment. Now, before you actually start doing the education and career planning, you are passing through that assessment process. That assessment process throw a lot of light and insight about your child or for that person. Okay, just to give you a few examples. Um, or before that, let me tell you, एक fundamental question आता है, Q assessment. This why assessment. It's not only for education and career planning, but it is beyond that. What is that important area? First, assessment, through assessment, you understand what you can do. At the same point of time, what you can't do. And the third thing, what you should not do. Okay, and the fourth is what you must do.
Okay.
Okay. Now, it is something like decoding a human psychology or a human capabilities and connecting all dots together, which will give you complete insight that what that person can be. Okay. And in this process, I'll share a couple of examples with you. Almost 4 years back, one of the parent, he approached me with his daughter. His daughter was not able to study well in the school. Reasons were completely unknown. Okay, in spite of giving best of the best resources, putting that daughter, his daughter into best of the best school in Bombay, the daughter was not able to deliver what is expected in the classroom as well as during examination. So obviously, one point of time where the school was forced to tell them to take that child away. Admission cancel ho gaya.
To take home.
To take home. So obviously, the father was more worried कि बेटी है अभी तो स्कूल में से निकाल दिया आगे की जिंदगी में क्या करेगी. So the parents, when the parent met me, okay, I did the assessment of that child, and I could understand that she has a learning deficiency. Means learning deficiency means the child needs. Child can certainly study well, but need different style of treatment to study subjects. Okay, and in that process, I could also find out that her vocation was towards, or the inclination was towards, photography. So I suggested.
So she was inborn skill with.
Yeah, she had a very peculiar skill of visioning and all. Okay, she was also able to articulate different images through words and all, and she had excellent imagination power, which is needed in certain typical trades, like if you really want to be a photographer or a director, movie director kind of thing, or a music director kind of thing, or something like that, or an artist overall. Okay, जिसको जिंदगी में जो बना नहीं है, जो चीज बनी नहीं है, वो सोचने की क्षमता उसमें होती है. So very special child. So I suggested an alternative career for her, that she should pursue her career into photography. So the father put her into the best of the best college in photography and all, and today she is one of the successful industrial photographer. So this is the first example or the first experience which I'm sharing with you, friends. But beyond that, during assessment, you can also understand how your child is thinking, whether your child is exposed to certain social or maybe prone to exposed to certain social or the psychological risk or not, okay, or threats. Okay, and it's not good to share more detail on this, but in this tenure I could at least help 2 parents to save their daughters committing suicide. So that's something which is very essential, because जिसको कहते हैं ना, पेरेंट्स भी आजकल रेट रेस में लगे हैं. पेरेंट्स को अपने बच्चों को डांसर भी बनाना है, अच्छे से अच्छा कराटे चैंपियन भी बनाना है, अच्छे से अच्छा इंजीनियर बनाना है, अच्छे से अच्छा सीईओ बनाना है, सब कुछ बनाना है. Okay, and the last example which I'll share, I had a very peculiar a case where there was no relationship exist between father and a child. Right? Father was actually looking for someone who can be a mediator between himself and a child. क्योंकि बच्चा उनसे बात नहीं करता, broken relationship issue. And the reason for that broken relationship was I could find out through assessment, and then at a later stage, I gave them, both of them, the inputs about how person understand things, how person like to get communicated and all. Okay, and a lot of insight and a lot of counseling session happened, and today a boy is having a very soothing relationship with father.
I can I can vouch for you. So can you give some example of maybe because we may be having an audience, lot of students who may be engineers or somebody, some example, about somebody who's an engineer and how his career.
Yes, in fact, मैं आपको दो example दे सकता हूँ. This is something from North Gujarat, precisely a place called Patan, where a parent was expecting his child to be an engineer. Okay, so father was pursuing him for engineering education and all. बहुत ही pressure था, parental pressure, typical जो होता है, ठीक है? And child somehow could get admission into engineering college. But continuously for 3 years he could not pass out. And he was almost on the verge of dropping out from education itself. Forget about engineering, education itself. जिंदगी में कुछ और कर लूंगा लेकिन पढ़ाई तो बिल्कुल नहीं करूंगा. That's the level of the frustration the child could earn. So eventually, by that time, I met them and had a long chat, followed by assessment and the counseling and all. And then I could realize that the child was not made for engineering studies at all. But from assessment, I could make out that child can certainly do well if he study commerce subjects. And believe me, friends, the father just followed my instructions and shifted him from the engineering college, took a 1-year break, prepared him for commerce subject, put him into college, commerce college, and last year only we could successfully pass out from the commerce graduation. Now probably he's studying further for management and all. So that's one example. On the other side, now friends, please understand, engineering is a very big subject, very vast subject. Now within engineering also, there are many areas, okay, like civil engineering, electronic, electrical, mechatronics, whatnot, okay. So I have one particular example from Bombay only. A child, studied civil engineering, okay. Now when I did actually his assessment, I could find out that he is not at all a student for civil engineering, but he had a very strong and peculiar, logic and a rationale towards coding. Okay. So, but the family was, pressurizing him to study civil because it was a business family. They had a construction business, and they wanted to pass on that legacy of their business to the child. Okay, I think that's the most, irrational thinking. Okay, so when I suggested that your child is good for coding, not for civil engineering, he has certain physical limitations, so that he cannot work on field. He has to sit in the office. He has to code. Okay, and that's where he can succeed well. Again, the same person took a break and put him back into private engineering college, into B Computer Science, and currently he is pursuing his B Computer Science very, very successfully.
So let me just add to all the audience. It's not just one. I'm saying, by the way, we as a Makarandd help and guide them for years together, and he continues to guide these children as you go by. So it's not a one-time process; it's a continuous process for you.
In fact, let me tell you, probably our audience must be wondering that we have been talking about education and career counseling for past 1 hour or maybe more than that. Okay, but when to start this? That's more important.
Yes. So,
okay,
what is the right time according to you?
Yeah,
I know every time is the right time, but
yeah, true. But it has to be proper time also, na? Every time is the right time, but a proper time is also essential. So, just a while ago I said, informally in our social, setup, informally we start talking about stream selection or probably a subject selection kind of thing when child gets into 10th standard. इसको साइंस लेना चाहिए, कॉमर्स लेना चाहिए, क्या करना चाहिए? Okay, friends, believe me, sooner the better. I'll go back to my first example. अगर आपके फैमिली में कोई गर्ल चाइल्ड है तो उसका ग्रूमिंग अगर आप 10th 10 साल की उम्र से करना शुरू करते हो तो बच्चे का एजुकेशन और करियर प्लानिंग भी आपको उतना ही जल्दी करना चाहिए. Okay, and according to me, probably every one of us would be having our own set of logics behind it. But according to me, the right age of education and career planning is when the child is entering into the 8th standard.
Right. But I'm sure, children who are in 8, but many of the children are in this engineering, commerce, then to college. Do you think can be done that time too?
Yeah, they can also do it. Means एक होता है कि आप corrective career choice कैसे कर सकते हो, दूसरा एक होता है planned career, proactive कैसे कर सकते हो, right? But friends, most important thing is why at 8th standard? That's important thing which being a parent you should understand. Because 8th standard से लेके 12th standard, which is I would say formative stage of child. During this formative stage, you are actually helping your child for higher studies. Because the way children study in school and children study at college, hugely different. Okay, school के अंदर spoon feeding किया जाता है, rectify करवाया जाता है. In college, there is a democratic system which exists which allows you to study if you really want to study. Then no one else is going to force you to study. Even if you bunk your class, no one will ask you.
Yes.
Okay. So the even education system in school is different and the college is different. Okay. So unless you prepare your child for college education, I'm still not talking about higher education, I'm talking about college education. Believe me, your child will face a lot of challenges. जिंदगी में स्टूडेंट के दो लेवल पे ट्रांजिशन होता है. First transition from school to college or a university for graduation or the post-graduation studies, and second transition happens when the child or the student moves out of college and starts his professional career. And both these things, there are a lot of stumbling blocks are there, which will not allow your child to perform to his best. And that's where हमारे सोसाइटी में ज्यादातर बच्चे अंडर एम्प्लॉयड हैं.
Yes, that's I completely agree. I completely agree.
Like for an example, if it's very simple thing कि अगर मुझे हिमालयन ट्रैकिंग पे जाना है ड्यूरिंग जनवरी जहाँ पर स्नो गिरता है, बर्फ गिरती है, तो आई शुड गेट प्रिपेयर्ड, राइट? इतना सिंपल सी बात है. That you have the only difference is you have to start grooming your child for college or the university studies well in time. So this is something which is very, very important for people to understand. So obviously,
so to sum it up, what you're trying to say is that as early as possible, good, but it's never late. Do the course correction, right, and plan your career.
Yes. In fact, मेरे पास कई सारे स्टूडेंट ऐसे आते हैं who are already into the last year of their engineering. And they come and talk to me for their master's program as well as for their career. So they still have some course correction which is available. Okay.
Good. I think it's a good work. Congratulations to you. It's a very good work you guys are doing.
So Rajev, here I would like to understand that since we are talking for past nearly 1 hour 24 minutes about education and career, career planning and management and all, but let our audience help. means for audience help, I would like you to talk something about how you as an organization, TASA as an organization, is helping students and parents.
Thank you. I think this is very close to my heart. I'm very, very passionate about it. It is my purpose in my life. As Rajiv had shown in the starting, I have taken up my purpose is that I should help more than 5 million students. 5 million students, we are talking 50 lakh students in the next 10 years to find their purpose, find their career, become employable careers. That's the purpose on which I'm broadly working. And this I can imagine cannot be done alone.
True.
Right.
True.
So, we have prepared to just give you a quick data. See, if you're talking that youth, India requires, as per international standards, around 16 lakh career counselors.
Okay.
Okay. Whereas India has 1 lakh career counselors, out of which only 10,000 are trained and certified.
Oh.
The 90,000, the rest 90,000 are the one who are designated career counselors. So you can call them placement officers, school, whichever word you want to use. So first, there is a gap of 18 lakh trained and certified career counselors. Okay, to tackle the 60 crore youth.
Okay.
I am talking 60 crore youth.
Oh.
Okay, that's what it is. It is required. By the way, all 60 crore are not studying. Okay, only currently 25% of the students GR are actually higher education. But by the way, this can be done for people who are also in 10th and 12th. There are vocations where they can be trained and certified. You can identify their trained and certified areas where they can get an employable job out of that. Now, to do this, we have created a couple of programs. In fact, that workfromhome.com is that one of the platform I created during COVID times,
Okay.
where we are training and certifying advisors. It could be housewives, it could be ladies at home, it could be retired people, teachers, professors, educationists who could be trained and be part of that army who can actually help the students. Secondly, obviously the student itself, the student should realize that this is one area it can really help them to achieve what they want, make them happy. Let me put that. Okay. And third most important thing, which I'm in the process of launching, it will take some couple of months, is also to rope in the parents. So if you've seen the new NEP, the government is saying that the first teacher for the kids between first year to 3 years should be parents. Right? So actually that triggered my mind, hey, parents are the other most important part. So it's not only advisors. So we are working on a product where the parents can be an enabler for their child. So only when all three work together, which is a student, the advisors, so advisor could be teachers, professors, whoever it may be, and the parents itself, then only I'm using a word which of the ex-president of US, which is something similar to make India great.
Yeah, in fact, this is very interesting. And friends, you please remember this, that in education and career planning, first of all, there are two important things which we have to understand. First, we have, being a parent, we have to create that system of, ecosystem where we can certainly groom our child. So first is, obviously, this education system exists there. But beyond that, as I told you, education and career planning is most guided and informed decision. So you should have professional expertise who can take you through that journey. That is more important. So two things which are important. One, have that ecosystem in place, and number two, take advice and help from the most successful professionals who are working in this space. And on this count, let me share one resource for parents.
Yes, if you want to do, you yourself want to be about it. This person, what we are talking of, Richard Bowles, is supposed to be the father of career coaching. It's a book he has written called "What Color Is Your Parachute." It's a beautiful book. I will urge all of you to read this book. For whoever are there, to understand what we are broadly speaking for so long, for one and a half hours, and to bring in the importance. And it is very important. See, ultimately, I urge all the parents. Ultimately, we want to make our children happy. Our children should be happy. And this is one of the greatest route to make the children happy in what they want to do. They do well, right? They like what they're doing. It's all about their love and passion. and not only contribute to themselves, to the immediate family, to the society, to the country, and to the world at large. This is one topic I'm very, very passionate about. I invite all of you people to let's make a tribe, let's make an army, and help our youth to become great, to be happy. That's what I like to end with. Makarandd, any parting words you'd like to say?
Yeah, means as a parent, I can see huge opportunity to service our family as well as the society, bringing this new concept up. It's actually not a new concept. The concept exists, but I was talking to someone that even today, as far as education and career planning is concerned, parents are there in the quadrant of subconscious incompetency.
Okay.
यानी उनको पहली बात तो ये पता ही नहीं कि एजुकेशन और करियर प्लानिंग की जरूरत है. That's the biggest problem. And that's where they get exposed over a period of time. And friends, that's the reason. Popularly, it's said, and even I also proclaim always that life never gives us control Z. That's an undo option in our life. One small mistake in education and career planning of your child can certainly spoil 2 generations.
I agree with you. Thank you, Makarandd. It was nice, very, very nice talking to you and sharing this panel with you. Friends, I think we come back every Saturday. So thank you very much for attending this session. The next Saturday is a topic we are taking on study abroad. It's called Study in France. So we'll have one of the experts, a French university professional, who will come and talk about France and study in France. I will invite all of you to join in that session. Thank you very much. Good night and bye-bye.
Good night and thank you very much.